Corruption.
Corruption. And how did he do it? When the country started in 65, they ensured that people in government were paid well to prevent bribe. And you know that if you were to take bribe and you are caught, you'll be in jail.
Capital punishment.
It was clear that there were consequences for actions. The judiciary worked, and people knew that they had to survive. And though they poured everything they had into it, their situation is not any different from Nigeria. We have oil, don't we?
We do.
We have the population, don't we? But how do you not take care of things like corruption? Why is our legislature or the legislation you have in place today are basically an appendage of the presidency? It shouldn't be so.
You think so?
No, I know so. Everybody knows it. But I can understand if we want to be economical with the truth because of this, the circumstances we have. We need a vibrant democracy, an independent judiciary. A judiciary that reward, quote and unquote, bad behavior with proper punishment. Otherwise, other countries will not take us seriously, which is what it is. Once you have a judiciary that is broken down, who takes you seriously? You're calling for private international investors to come. What if the deal fails? Can they trust your judiciary to arbitrate properly? No. So, but we need a country where these three branches are separate and equal, checking on each other. You talked about democracy. Let me tell you something, how bad our democracy is failing. Why your local, I was in your village a few months ago, right? That's in December.
Kogi State.
We had to get security to travel between here and my lovely Kogi people. The route between Lokoja and Ayuba, the stories we heard made us afraid. And you know why that is? Because governance at the local government level has failed. In the present democracy that we have, and this is to tell you how much we have failed, to win election in the local government area as a local government chairman, you only need to belong to the party of the governor in the state. How can that be democracy? And it is so because of the way the election is conducted. At the local government level and state level, you have what you call State Independent Electoral Commission. We have advocated, allow INEC conduct the election. Until that happens, you're going to have a system in place where the person as local government chairman is handpicked by the governor and not by the people.
But the INEC is the one conducting election
it
at
is
the local
State
level.
Independent Electoral Commission. These are separate bodies. INEC conducts for federal, state independent electoral.
Yes.
Yeah, conducts for that. And most of them, the people managing the state also are card-carrying members of the governor of the party. How do you expect democracy to thrive? How does the best comfort? If the governor picks one of his stooges and makes him local government chairman, would he then be accountable to the people he provides governance for? No. I mean, you have heard when President Tinubu came in, he pushed for autonomy. At least let the funds of local government get straight to them. But because the people who are local government chairmen were handpicked, they are loyal. Or you want to be thrown out, it's very easy for them to do. And so instead of being accountable to the people, if the people had voted them in a proper system, they are accountable to the governor. How do you then expect the local government chairman to listen when a constituent says the primary health care center at our place has fallen down, has broken down? No, they won't do it because they will only listen to the person who put them there. So to get this system, you're talking about insecurity. Where does the brunt of, where is it felt? Is it not at the local government level? And yet there's no system in place to make it work. We need to get to a point where leaders at the local government and councillors are picked by the people. People actually go to the polls, elect who they want. And so that if the person begins to fail, they hold him accountable. The same thing for the governors and the same thing for the president. That is how it should work. But what we have in place today are just people who are occupying positions and picked by their godfathers. They are gatekeepers. And a large chunk of the population is excluded, women and the youths. That cannot be a proper democracy. Yes, if you go to a place like China, they have their own democracy. They call it democracy with Chinese characteristics. If the democracy we copied from America or other parts of the West isn't working, let us taint it a little. Let us do the things that work. Imagine for a few moments that at the local government level, you have INEC conducting elections, and they actually follow the rules. And if things go well, in 2027, results are transmitted. Do you think some governor will just handpick one of his tout or stooges and say, you are the next local government chairman? Certainly it won't happen. Then you will have democracy that is functional. So in this regard, our system at the local government level has failed, and that's why the insecurity is being felt the way it is. I mean, when we were growing up, I was very little, when you still had local government chairmen who were actually administrators. They had a legislative council that was functional. People elect them. They live within the community. But you pick somebody from Abuja because he's your stooge and make him local government chairman. He doesn't even have a house in the local government. Then you expect him to be accountable to the people, and then democracy will flourish. If he fails at the local government level, it will fail at the state level, because the state administers the local government and the local government is in shambles. I mean, this is where the bulk of our people live. The people who move this country forward live in the villages. Those places must be properly administered. And you can only do that if the process of electing people into office is proper and structured.
Okay, now.
Yes.
How do you think that the failure of the process, electoral process, affects the general economy? Okay, maybe we should take it from the local government council.
Correct.
How do you think that the inability of the relevant authorities to institute the process, as it were, fails?
Okay.
How do you think this will affect the economic situation in the area and then to the federal?
I did a study tour in China in 2023, and it was about leadership at all levels, business and political leadership, how the Chinese were able to scale. Now, this was what they did. The first thing they did, like I said, the people who moved this country forward on their backs live in the local government, not in the city.
They live with the people.
With the people. They are the farmers. They are the traders. They are the people who ensure that you don't go hungry in the city, because you can't farm inside Abuja here. The farms are located somewhere. Now, the people who do this farming cannot go to the farm because of the failure of security. Security didn't just fail because he wanted to fail. It failed because certain indicators were not taken care of. One, there was no security. And if you have people who do not have jobs, they will tend to something they consider easy, which is kidnapping. I mean, you've heard how that they say, I'll go and farm 6 months and wait for the crop to be ready to sell, when I can just carry somebody and go and hide, and the family will negotiate. So if democracy were working at the local government level, we wouldn't have the challenge we have with security today. Now, this was what the Chinese people did. When Mao Zedong, from what we learned, came in 1978, the first thing he did, he looked at agriculture and said, look, you cannot put agriculture under the purview of the federal government when the people who do the farming live in the villages. So he removed agriculture and said, handle it in your local areas.
At the grassroots?
At the grassroots. And then what you plant, because we don't want a glut, if it becomes too much, the government buys it off you.
Government become an off-taker.
Off-taker. And so farmers are not afraid to go to the farm. Imagine that happening in Nigeria. We talked about your brother now who has an oil palm plantation. I went to the place. Over 100 hectares in this country. One individual. But he can't play at the level he should play because there are no support. Now imagine if the powers were given to them and subsidies or loans given to farmers actually make their way to the farmers.
The credit facilities.
Good. No, that's not what it is. Under the last administration, they had what you call the Anchor Rural Program. I can't remember the figures of what they call failed loan is unbelievable. You know why? Most of those monies were channeled to political farmers, supporters of people in office. they pick their name and say, this is my candidate, give him money. And the person collects the money and buys Okada. How do you want to blame them when they can't even go to the farm and the loan has gone to the wrong person, not the real farmers? We need to begin to take care of our local government. I am of the opinion that if we can harness the local government, ensure that democracy works at the local government level, we will not have these kind of problems that we have. First of all, federal government has said, okay, we take care of power. Now, thank God there's some liberalization in the power sector. Imagine a situation. What we have right now is a grid that has failed completely. I'm sure you must have heard. I'm sure you're probably running on generator in this place, which shouldn't be. But if we take care of security, address the issue of power, ensure that the power that gets to our people is able to help them set up cottage industry. Do you think there will be the rural-urban migration that we have people running to Abuja or Lagos? At least there will be a reduction. There will be production at the local government level because government actually works. Security will have to be taken care of. If you solve the issue of power, you have solved more than half of our problems. Then a guy who knows how to barb can remain in the local government area and do his barbing business. He can harvest his maize, the farmer harvests his maize and not have to sell it to a middleman and processes it into the next line of product. And then the money stays in the local government and without people running because the system has failed. First of all, like I said, we need to take care of governance at the local government level. People must be, the leaders must be accountable to the people they provide governance with. Otherwise, we're going to keep wasting this opportunity and this experiment at democracy.
The reports had it some time ago that the people themselves are also a contributor to the failure of democracy in some parts of the country. For example, you mentioned light. Yeah, we all know the place of light in economic development of nations, not just in Nigeria. With light, you can be at your corner, even at the grassroots, and be productive.
Correct.
So to say. But again, the report had it that the people themselves have become saboteurs. How would you explain where the government is trying to put up maybe electric poles in some areas and the line wires, and then the people go over to make away with them, to steal them, so to say?
What did they steal?
I don't know if you have heard, of such reports.
Yes, those reports are everywhere. First of all, the reason that is because people are hungry. I'm not excusing their behavior. It is wrong. If they are caught, they should be dealt with. But you have not provided an environment for them to survive using their talent. And so they see this cable lying down. They steal it.
Cable, energy line, power lines, and the rest of them.
What do they use it to do? Not too long ago, the market here, some market in Jabi, was shut down because the coverings of those manholes on the road were being carted away. Do they take it to their houses to build bed and sleep? No, they sell it to a smelting plant that is run by most foreigners. What is the government doing to those factories? Do you understand?
At least they have closed the market.
Yes.
At least to service.
No, the market is open again. But the people who melt this metal to form other things like iron rod and bar, they are still in place. Don't you deal with one people, you go to those people and then issue some strong warnings. Buy this thing from them, or we come to your factory and see this thing, you are in deep trouble. If there are no buyers, would there be the thief to steal it? No, you make the environment impossible for the people who are buying it. So you, as much as we condemn people sabotaging national assets, you also must take care of the situation that led to it in the first place. People are hungry. You need to first solve the corruption issue, that's at the federal and state and local government level. Governors must allow the local government people spend their own money the way they want on project. And then we must have a budgeting circle, a process that is transparent. And people are able to check you out and say, okay, you voted money for certain project and say, oh, Himini. Let the project be investigated. Let people monitor it. If you don't do it, you have to explain. Let us know how much the project is going to cost. What are the timelines for completion? People must be involved in governance to check the executive so that things can work. But that's not what we have in place. What they are interested in, and you must know this. You elect them, or you handpick them, you give them ticket, they end up as the candidate, and then before you know, they are the occupants of the office. And what they're interested in is what you call empowerment. I'm sure you must have seen it. They will carry, what do you call it, sewing machine, and distribute to do TV coverage. That is their idea of empowerment. You give it to people. You carry sewing machine and give it to a woman who is not a tailor. Or you carry motorbike and give it to youth.
So even grinding machine, I've seen them share grinding machine to empower the people.
How is that empowerment? That is slavery.
You think so?
Yes, I know so.
How?
No, it shouldn't be. I'll tell you why. When you are focused on the people, imagine that you live in the villages and your children can go to a school with standards at the village level. I mean, some of these people who are administering us now in their 70s, they went to village schools. How did they do better? How did they end up the way they ended? Because the village school system was working at the time. You go to certain villages now, those schools are not functional. Focus on school. Education, quality education at the rural level.
Okay.
Healthcare.
Now, that will take me to this question.
Yes.
Now, you are vying for the position of the federal constitution. You want to assume or to win the 2027 election by the grace of God. Okay, tell me what you will do different from the people we have at the helms of affairs now, if elected as the honorable member representing the good people of Ohimini Federal Constitution. What will you put on the table that is different from what we see today?
One,
for economic development of the people and the country at large.
One, I will lead from the heart. That's number one. I will not give handouts to people and call it empowerment because I want to put it on TV to look good.
So you allow the people to go hungry?
No, they will not go hungry. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Number one, the primary healthcare system there must be functional. People should not die needlessly from diseases that are easily taken care of. For example, and you can go and fact check me. If a deadly snake or a poisonous or venomous snake were to bite somebody in those communities, they cannot go to a primary healthcare center because it's not functional. Let us ensure that one, the people stay healthy.
Okay.
That's number one. Ensure that we have a functional primary healthcare center. Education. Education should deliver quality service to the children of our poor parents in the villages. They should not end up as farmers perpetually who are uneducated. One, we must ensure that education in Otukpo Ihimini, especially at the primary level and the secondary level, especially education that is managed by government, is functional.
Okay.
And again, we must ensure that our people are able to do their trade, go to the farm. How do you do that? It has worked in other places. Why do you not get together as the administrator of that place to ensure that security is taken care of? Let the people participate in the security of their communities. Our people in that local government have been at the brunt of all this attack by armed men. And they sleep, in their sleep, they just come and then you murder them. Recently, they shared information with me that I tried to get some people in authority to act. How that bandits, they call them bandits, according to the report, some armed headmen went to a farm and burnt 154 hectares of farmland with produce, with crop on it, and with the promise that they are coming to attack the people. And the people are helpless. We will take care of security. We will make it a collective effort by the people in those communities to defend themselves legally.
Because I was coming to ask you how.
Yes, legally. I mean, I watched a program, a security summit, where the head of the SSS made a proposal that let communities be the first line of defense for their own people. I mean, there are youth, there are retired men in these communities. Let us empower them. Empower them to the point where they become the first line of action. If there were attacks, they're going to defend themselves. and then call for support from the police or the army. And they didn't just lay down in their sleep and you come and murder them. We will take care of security by ensuring that there's a collective arrangement where the community youths protect themselves. And then we must also ensure that women are empowered, not the kind of empowerment you see around where they buy those 100 sewing machine and put it in a population. How many people live there and you give them sewing machine every day? No. Let them actually get credit to go to their farms. One, you have taken care of security, then they are able to farm, and you create access to finance for them. As they do their farming, they are able to grow their crop. You put in the right structure in place for farmers to be able to produce better crop, better yield, and then they're able to do this selling, and they are taking care of their families. Agriculture, healthcare, education, and then also ensure that there's water and sanitation. The local government where I'm from, water is a luxury. But you know what God did for us?
No.
Under this soil, if you break this rock, you will see water. So why is water not readily available to the people? What would it cost you to sink boreholes all across the two local governments to ensure that they have clean water, first of all, to ensure that they don't fall sick from drinking from open streams?
Do you know that a lot of people have this trust deficit on politicians at all levels, and the reason is because of promises not kept.
Good.
A lot of people have come up to announce to the people that if I am elected, I will do A, B, and C. And once they get into the position, your guess is as good as mine. Yes. So how are you assuring us that you will not go the same way?
First of all, I will implore anybody to look at my antecedents. I have people in this country, like the gentleman, when people come out to speak for you, it tells of your pedigree and your character.
Yeah.
I'm not used to making promises and not keeping them, because I believe democracy has to be about the people. I have led before, and even the position of leadership that we occupied, we ensure that the people are taken care of. The leadership position you hold is in trust for the people. That must not escape the head of any politician. But we have raised them to a point of being almost demigod, to the point where we believe that they cannot make mistakes. Meanwhile, money gets voted. There is no thing to show for all the constituency project and the money is provided, because the people cannot talk. And when you come, you give them a sewing machine. Tailors, you give sewing machine to tailors, like I said, people who are not even tailors. You carry, what do you call it, wheelbarrow, and hand it over to them, do pictures and take pictures and say this is empowerment.
No, that's what they want.
No, they don't want it. But they are so poor that anything you give to them, they take.
So
people should stand up. They must rise up to begin to challenge the status quo. They must ask questions. If they give you what they call empowerment, take it. But don't fall for their tricks, because that's not what they're supposed to do to you. You should be able to buy the sewing machine from your legitimate earnings. Okay. That is what we preach.
Okay, now,
yes,
the empowerment initiatives, or some empowerment initiatives, if not all, are geared towards lifting the well-being of the people, at least to become productive in one way or the other, even if it's on the value chains of some sectors.
Yes.
Now, you are vying for the position of the federal constituency of your area.
Yes.
What are the empowerment plans that you have on ground?
Like I said,
for the people,
I challenge. I've hated that thing called empowerment, because I think it is a means to keep the people as slaves. So
what are you going to improve their economy?
Good. I've told you. We'll ensure that you do your legitimate work. Ensure that if you're a farmer, the farming work works for you by setting in place machineries to ensure that you do farming properly, get legitimate earning, and take care of yourself. That is why government exists, not to distribute things to people, things that are even overpriced. when you say, if you go and price the sewing machine they give to them, if you check the price of the sewing machine, and you know the other nonsense they call, sorry for using that word.
No, I won't take the word. I won't take that word.
Okay. But one other thing they call empowerment, it looks like there's a mad craze about solar street light. That is their own means of empowerment now.
Don't you think it's a means of empowerment where there's light? Solar. Maybe given the fact that the price of petrol, PMS, is going beyond the access
the reach of average people.
So don't you think that solar also will be an alternative to empowering people?
As a professional, as an engineer who is also in the business of renewable energy, there are better things that will bring dignity to the people than handing them lantern. Any power you give to the people that is not able to help them set up cottage industry is not good enough. That's in the past. What is power? If you put solar street light that provides lights in the night when they sleep, how does it help in production? How does it help them to set up gari grating machines to be able to cause gari? That power should be such that it helps them to power their engines. That is what you call empowerment. And how do you do that? I mean, there are many grids. We're in discussion with some people who want to help their own local government somewhere in Oyo State. That discussion has advanced. They are thinking like people who actually have their people at heart. They're not thinking of giving them small solar lamp with small panel on top, and then they can provide light and charge their phone. No, they're already thinking of setting up mini grids for that local government, that community. There are funds scattered all over because we have lazy people as politicians in this country. They don't want to think critically about how to solve the problem at the local government level. And so the quick fix for them is to buy solar and put in their roads, and then also give them lantern and tell them this one can charge your phone. That is wickedness.
All right.
So to answer your question, to solve the power problem, ensure that when they turn on their lights in their houses, light is able to come up, and it has to be affordable. And you can do that by building small mini grid. You know what the government has done? The last government under President Buhari, I think, ensure that you are able to now, private people can go into generating power for communities, which is what they call mini grid. And those communities are connected, and they can watch their television, charge their phone, and also power other things in the house. And it has to be affordable. So if you can, if that enabling environment has been created, there's an enabling law, why not explore it instead of punishing the people with what you call empowerment? Yes.
Now, because of our time,
yes,
and in your last lap, tell us again your motivation and the one critical project that you hit the ground running, and then your advice to the youth for their participation in politics as a panacea for economic development of Nigeria as we round off.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that question. The very first thing we'll take care of, we'll convene a meeting of communities to begin to discuss their security. Security situation, we have to first discuss that. People must feel safe in their houses.
All right.
So that they don't get killed even before they wake up.
All right.
No, that will be taken care of. And then we'll go to agriculture, ensure that the primary healthcare system works. But first of all, the first thing we'll take care of will be security.
All right. Yes. The first thing he will take care of, if elected, is security, and then the pursuit for agricultural development and economic growth of the nation. That is the thought of my guest. And my guest I have been speaking with is the former National Secretary, African Action Congress, ACC, and now AAC, and presently the aspirant for the Otukpo Oyemini Federal Constituency. Yes. My guest has been Mr. Agu, Mr. Ina Okopi Agu. So I will call him Mr. Agu. Mr. Agu, we thank you for coming on today's edition of the program. And I think in the other series, if we invite you, you'll be here.
I'll be here.
All right. Yes. And to our esteemed guests out there, we want to thank you for branching off today's edition of the program. Join us again and stay with us for more of the programming. I am ILE EMEJE saying, have a good day.